We mentioned a few of them. Yes, the world is also governed by interest. Countries come along with each other, they make understanding with each other, they vote a resolution which may not be a good resolution. This is unfortunately a fact of life. And you in your deliberations must live with this. Okay? Where is the interest of your country? Even if you do not agree with it, as Professor said, you must represent it. You must represent your country. But sometimes, unfortunately, it becomes a handicap because interests are not always in accordance with international norms and standards. Power of money. This is a fact of life in all systems. It's not only in our personal life, but also in the UN system. Quite a huge number of member states are unfortunately not in a position to pay their due. And it varies from one country to another. So therefore, automatically, the power of contribution becomes relevant. It shouldn't be, but it becomes relevant. You know, you will be representing your countries in the General Assembly. Take the budget of the United Nations and see who is paying most of the money. There are just some 20 or 25 countries which bear more than 80% or 85% of the budget of the United Nations system. This is unfair, honestly, even for those countries. But what is the reason? The reason is that the world is not equal. We have developed countries and less developed countries. Developed countries can do more, less developed countries can do less. So essentially we come back to the sense of notion of development for all, which we decide but we do not implement. Now, new challenges to the UN. Terrorism is a big challenge. I think more we talk about it, I always say to my colleagues, I mean, everyone faces it. It's like HIV/AIDS. If you don't speak about it, you really do not fulfill your obligation. Unfortunately, it has become now a fact of life, and we must fight it. We must fight it by all means, because it threatens our essence of life. There is no international norms, there is no international standards with these people. And, you know, actually, countries have now come to a situation where they are fighting unknown enemies. If you know your enemy, if you know that the opposite side, it's easier to strategize. But if you don't know your opposite side, you cannot strategize. And it has become, unfortunately, a huge burden to basically do development work, human rights work, humanitarian work. It has become a big problem. Take Somalia, for example. In Somalia, humanitarian workers cannot work, while at the same time, the population is suffering. Probably Somalia is really 1,000 times below the standard that we could afford in any reasonably given circumstances. But why humanitarian workers in the international community cannot work? Because too simply, this fact of life is very much you know? Afghanistan, you see every day, the work of the international community, the work of UN agencies are hampered because there are people who, in an unknown way, in a very undefined pace, they are just attacking. The UN has become a target. Abuja, just a few months ago, the United Nations building was attacked. We lost colleagues. Kandahar, 3 weeks ago, we lost 3 UNHCR staff. So UN has become now a prime victim and a prime target of such movements and groups. But I think if there is no hope, there is no life. I do believe that we have gone through difficult times. The decline of mankind has always been at his own hand. Empires have perished because they fought each other. They were very much promoting the spirit of domination. I think Egyptian empire was destroyed by Roman, and Roman was destroyed by others. And I think now the notion of supremacy is changing. And this is where I think you have a big role in the General Assembly to play. And my advice would be that, honestly, as representative of countries, be fair. Realize that today we have reached in a situation of non-acceptance of difference of life between the poor and the rich. You know, if you take a physical phenomenon, the lightning happens when there is big difference. And this is exactly a fact of life. If the difference between poor and rich becomes too much, too big, automatically it leads to clashes. It is the law of physics. So therefore, your job should be also to have your thoughts about those places that need your support. Those places that people die of very simple thing, while your 1.50 cent or $1 would really buy the life of a child. Think about it. Be fair in your judgment. The second issue is really think of human beings. I know UN is probably 60%, 65% about interest. But I think the life of mankind is also very important. And I do believe that within the UN system, a huge number of people think about life of mankind. And I advise that you should do it. And a third point that I really would like to suggest to you as representatives of your countries, and Professor Harvey mentioned that you, even if you don't agree with your government, you must represent your government and you must give the vote that your government wants you to vote. This is fine. But I think there is also the other side of the coin, is you can advise your government on the decision that your government would like you to take. If you think that this decision is hampering international standards, it's really up to you to advise, go back to your government and say, look, do you think it should be happening? So we are finally in a democracy. I don't think that the decisions of capitals or crystal, how do you call it, sacred text. In the UN system, we have this. For example, I receive instruction from my headquarters, from my supervisor, say, you do this. But I have every right to go back and say, let's think about it. But I'm in the field. I'm where I am. I know what is the situation. I do believe that we should not do it this way, we should do it that way. This is a prerogative that is given to me, and I often exercise it. And sometimes I come to a situation where I could change the decision of my headquarters. And I think a diplomat should also have the courage to say when things are not in the big interest of his government. A diplomat should also think long-term. There are short-term games and there are long-term games. And I think a diplomat should think of long-term gains of his or her government, and therefore reflect it in the deliberation, whether it is in the General Assembly or in the Executive Committee of UNHCR. So with this, I really would like to thank for your attention. I hope I have not been too vague in my statements, and wish you good luck. And again, congratulations for this very extraordinary good initiative. Thank you.
Thank you a lot, Mr. Azam, for your very informative speech and for your advice. I believe it is useful for everyone, and I think everybody have some their thoughts and that will inspire people. So now we will have the opening of our session. Our dear guest, Mr. Samit, representative of the United Nations Department of Public Information, will be still here with us. So during the session you can come and ask questions or just to have discussions or clarify anything you want. And now I would like to also wish you to have a very good conference. Thank you.